Should the government be involved in fighting fake news? I'm gonna have to say no. And it's a really weird position to be in because Mitch McConnell apparently agrees. Well, I don't know his exact position. But we have this story from Bloomberg. U.S. unleashes military to fight fake news and disinformation. How? That's the big question. We have a First Amendment. Yes, you have a right to publish nonsense. You have your opinion. It kind of sucks. We just got lied about at our event the other day by some far left, media hit person, whatever. But hey, that's part of the First Amendment. And as much as it sucks, that's the game we're all playing. I am worried that people who make fake news and biased media are cheating. And because those of us in the principled space, whatever you want to call it, are refusing to cheat, we're likely to lose. But here's a bigger problem. Should the military be involved in fighting disinformation? Well, what makes them right? Are we making like a branch of journalism in the government? That doesn't make sense. Well, let's read a little bit about this story. Now, before we get started, head over to Tim. This website is broken. It's Brave. I'm sorry. I like Brave, man, but timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, a crypto option, a physical address, but of course, the best thing you can do, just share this video. We're talking about fake news and disinformation, and if we can break echo chambers, that's a great thing. I also want to stress, man, I was up all day yesterday for the event, got to bed very late. You can tell I'm ridiculously tired, but I'm still going to produce some videos. I will never break schedule. Let's just read, and you get what you get. They say fake news and social media posts are such a threat to U.S. security that the Defense Department is launching a project to repel large-scale automated disinformation attacks as the top Republican in Congress blocks efforts to protect the integrity of elections. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, that's DARPA, wants custom software that can unearth fakes hidden among the more than 500,000 stories, photos, videos, and audio clips. If successful, the system, after 4 years of trials, may expand to detect malicious intent and prevent viral fake news from polarizing society. You can't do that. Look, I get you can stop foreign actors, but people in this country can speak whatever they want. You can't block their stories. They say a decade ago, today's state-of-the-art would have registered as sci-fi. That's how fast the improvements have come, said Andrew Grotto at the Center for International Security at Stanford University. There is no reason to think the pace of innovation will slow anytime soon. U.S. officials have been working on plans to prevent outside hackers from flooding social channels with false information ahead of the 2020 election. The drive has been hindered by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's refusal to consider election security legislation. This feels like a complete manipulation, I have to stress. Critics have labeled him Moscow Mitch, saying he left the U.S. vulnerable to meddling by Russia, prompting his retort of modern-day McCarthyism. Russia spent very little money and had very little reach. I have more reach in a single tweet than basically everything Russia did. Did Russia try to meddle? They did. Well, no, hold on. It was people in Russia. The point is, it's not that big of an impact. So are we going to hand over control of our informational infrastructure to the government to restrict and monitor? That doesn't even make sense. We have a First Amendment. Let's read, though. They say President Donald Trump has repeatedly rejected allegations that dubious content on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Google aided his election win. And that's probably true. It's been divisive, but we know that according to the stories, the Russian elements were propping up the right and the left, trying to make people fight. I wouldn't say that necessarily helped Trump. Hillary Clinton supporters claimed a flood of fake items may have helped sway the results in 2016. And no, that makes no sense because the polls showed Hillary was going to dominate. What happened is that the media, the American press, they were wrong. And they're wrong today. Quote, the risk factor is social media being abused and used to influence the elections, Syracuse University Assistant Professor of Communications Jennifer Grigiel said in a telephone interview. It's really interesting that DARPA is trying to create these detection systems, but good luck is what I say. It won't be anywhere near perfect until there is legislative oversight. There's a huge gap, and that's a concern. I don't know what the answer is to like fake news and meddling. People have a right to anonymity, have a right to free speech, and that means the system will be exploited. How we track that, I really have no idea. Maybe it's a hybrid anonymity, like you have to verify yourself with the platform, but you can have your profile be anonymous. But I guess then the government might know who you are. But if you do something that breaks the law, they can file a subpoena anyway. So to I guess clarify, imagine if when you signed up, you had to confirm your identity. but you could use a fake name and a fake image. I don't know, just a thought. Maybe it's not going to work. They say false news stories and so-called deepfakes are increasingly sophisticated and making it more difficult for data-driven software to spot. AI imagery has advanced in recent years and is now used by Hollywood, the fashion industry, and facial recognition systems. Researchers have shown that these generative adversarial networks, or GANs, can be used to create fake videos. And that's going to be scary. I can't remember where I was. I think maybe Joe Rogan as well as Glenn Beck asked me about deepfakes. And I'm not super concerned I'll put it this way. At a certain point, people will stop believing videos. That's a good thing. People need to stop believing this insanity from the woke outrage people and Antifa when they make a phone call and complain, because that's what they were doing in my event. We need to stop believing the fake nonsense. So maybe once deepfakes become prolific, people will be like, I'm just not going to believe it. And that could be a good thing. They say, famously, Oscar-winning filmmaker Jordan Peele created a fake video of former President Barack Obama talking about the Black Panthers, Ben Carson, and making an alleged slur against Trump to highlight the risk of trusting material online. After the 2016 election, Facebook Chief Executive Officer Mark Zuckerberg played down fake news as a challenge for the world's biggest social media platform. He later signaled that he took the problem seriously and would let users flag content and enable fact-checkers to label stories in dispute. These judgments subsequently prevented stories being turned into paid advertisements, which were one key avenue towards viral promotion. However, Facebook then had to make some changes when an audit found they were biased against conservatives. Now, although they didn't admit it because they're trying to save face, they did concede to making changes at the request of conservatives, like allowing tubes in advertisements. Yeah, like tubes. You know why? Because they're used in pro-life ads. Aha, so Facebook was biased. It's not solving the problem. Perhaps the only solution is free speech, within the legal limits. If you incite violence, you're banned. If you have a bad opinion, you're not. That might be the only solution. The more you try and control it, the less you actually do. They say in June, Zuckerberg said Facebook made an execution mistake when it didn't act fast enough to identify a doctored video of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in which her speech was slurred and distorted. But it was a joke. It was a meme. And they took it down. This is a problem. Why can't someone make a silly video making fun of a politician? It's selective. They do the same thing to Trump all the time. They say by increasing the number of algorithm checks, the military research agency hopes it can spot fake news with malicious intent before going viral. Now, perhaps there's an argument to say we need to be able to get rid of deep fakes as quickly as possible. Okay, all right. If people don't become resilient to deep fakes, maybe then we do need Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever to pull it down immediately. But I'll tell you what, I don't know how you actually do that, especially when you can do audio-only deep fakes. It seems like we're going to enter a world of complete confusion, and some people call it a post-fact society. Quote, a comprehensive suite of semantic inconsistency detectors would dramatically increase the burden on media falsifiers, requiring the creators of falsified media to get every semantic detail correct, while defenders only need to find one or a very few inconsistencies. The agency said in its August 23 concept document for the semantic forensics program. So I want to stress, it sounds like they're talking about deepfakes, and they're not necessarily talking about just someone writing a fake story. But they do have this year, so they say the agency added, these semaphore technologies will help identify, deter, and understand adversary disinformation campaigns. Well, you know what, man? I'm gonna leave it here. I'll read their conclusion because I guess we're getting close to the end. Because I want to make a bigger point about the American press. They say with a 4-year project scale for semaphore, the next election will have come and gone before the system is operational. This timeline is too slow, and I wonder if it is a bit of PR. Educating the public on media literacy along with legislation is what is important. But election officials lack motivation themselves for change, and there is a conflict of interest as they are using these very platforms to get elected. The bigger problem in our culture is not a deepfake. It's just fake news. I mean, Trump says things and they lie about what he says anyway, and people believe it. So what? Are you going to track NBC's fake story and take it down? You can't. NBC is a large news organization and they're protected. I do try to keep these short, so I'll just skip a little bit. But the point is, beyond this issue of foreign actors, which the left is obsessed with because of Russia, I don't think people are paying attention to the problem of partisan news and fake news. The left says, Breitbart's fake. Breitbart says the mainstream media is fake. In my opinion, I find there's a little bit of fakeness everywhere, but we do have serious problems with the mainstream media when they're purposefully trying to misframe things. Now, look, I think you see the same thing from NBC you see from Breitbart. That's a fact. The problem is a lot of people view Breitbart as, a blog and not a mainstream publication. I'm not trying to disparage Breitbart, but NBC News is definitely held to a higher standard and trustworthiness. That's the problem. So I don't know if this matters, but I will say I think bringing the government in to track fake news is a really bad idea. I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. Next segment will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Podcast every day at 6:30 p.m. And I will see you all next time.